Welcome to another session of Satchel Classes today. My name is Mr. Castrillo, and I'm going to be with you for the next 20 minutes, learning and revising a little bit of nationalities. The title of today's lesson is Soy Inglés, and if you know what it means, that's great because that's a very good start. If you don't, by the end of the lesson, you will know exactly what we are talking about. So let's start our lesson. By the way, today's lesson is a Key Stage 3 lesson, but always remember that the more you practice, the better it is for everyone. So, Soy Inglés. We're going to talk about the following topics. This is what we are going to learn today. We're going to revise nationalities. We are going to learn the past tense of ser. And we are going to be able to write short sentences in past tense about celebrities. Hoy vamos a repasar nacionalidades. Vamos a aprender el tiempo pasado del verbo to be. Y vamos a escribir oraciones cortas en tiempo pasado sobre celebridades. So let's look at some of these countries. I have some flags here that I'm going to be using as examples for today's lesson. But remember that we have plenty of countries in the world. You know, we have, I don't know how many, more than 170 countries if I'm not wrong. And of course, every single country will have a nationality. So of course, we're not going to learn all of them. We're going to learn the ones that we can use during an exam or that we might come across during a reading test. So let's start with our country. So we have the first one. Can you guess? España. Second one, Colombia. Third one, Argentina. Chile. Inglaterra. Escocia, Irlanda, Gales, Estados Unidos. A couple of things before we continue is that remember that G to us is not G unless we have a U after it. So in this case, it's going to sound Argentina. And also, see this country at the bottom right is United States. We don't say America, we say Estados Unidos, because to us, America is the whole continent that includes the United States as a country. So what about nationalities? What if I just wanted to use only the country as the way for me to say my nationality? Well, all you need to say is soy de, which means I am from. Soy de España, soy de Colombia, soy de Argentina, soy de Chile, soy de Inglaterra, soy de Escocia, soy de Irlanda, soy de Gales, soy de Estados Unidos. And remember that these long words like Inglaterra or Escocia or even more, Estados Unidos, all of these words actually are good for your pronunciation. And the more you practice, the better it is for you. But what if I didn't want to actually use the word or the country, but I wanted to use the actual nationality? Well, for these countries here, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Cuba, Mexico, Chile, it's very simple. We are just going to add something at the end of each one of those words. Now, you need to remember that, of course, we follow the masculine and the feminine. So when you're saying I'm Colombian, you need to remember, do I want to use the feminine or the masculine version of it? Now, the masculine will be a word ending in O. The feminine will be a word ending in A. So here we go. Colombiano, colombiana. Argentino, argentina. Peruano, peruana. Cubano, cubana. Mexicano, mexicana. Chileno, chilena. As you can see, the words on this section here will be all masculine, whereas the other ones will be all feminine. And that's really important. What about countries in Great Britain? Well, we have Inglaterra, Escocia, Gales, Irlanda, Gran Bretaña. So the nationality in Spanish will be as follows: inglés, inglesa; escocés, escocesa; galés, galesa; irlandés, irlandesa; británico, británica. As you can see, inglés, escocés, galés, irlandés, and all in on ES, which is really easy for us to remember. That's actually good for us. And all we need to do when we're talking about a feminine person, a feminine nationality, or a girl, well, we are going to add a at the end. Inglesa, escocesa, galesa, irlandesa. As for British, well, we only say británico, masculine, británica, feminine. What about some countries in Europe? Well, we have España, Alemania, Russia, Portugal, Polonia, Dinamarca. And the reason why I chose these countries is because their nationality is slightly harder than the previous ones that we've seen. So if you're able to remember them, that's going to be good for you, because you can actually use these as words in your writing section or your speaking section of your exam. So if we have Spain, España, we have español, feminine, española. German, alemán, alemana. Ruso, rusa. Can you guess that one? Yeah, it's Rush. It's Russia. It's Russia. Then we have Portugal, Portugués, portuguesa. Polish, polaco, polaca. Finally, can you guess the bottom country? That one here, Danes, danesa. Well, that is Dinamarca, which translates into Denmark. But then we have those countries that we can actually show off in terms of our pronunciation or our writing, because these are really hard to kind of remember. Grecia, Turkey, Marruecos, India, Estados Unidos. The pronunciation and the nationality for these ones in Spanish is going to change the word completely. So we have for Grecia, griego, griega. Turkey, turco, turca. Marruecos, we have Marroquí. And that's it. You don't need a feminine or a masculine. It's just the words. India, Hindu. And that's a really interesting one. See how the word changes a lot. Finally, we have Estados Unidos. And as I said previously, we don't say americano, americana, because to us that means more like you come from the continent rather than the country. And in this case, we have to use this very long word, estadounidense. There's a lot of sounds there. In actual fact, you're using all the vowels in that word. A, E, I, O, U, estadounidense. So if you do this one, or if you come from the United States, well, that's the word that you can use to show off your speaking skills to your teacher or during your exam. Estadounidense. And my suggestion is always go slow. You don't need to go fast. Go slow until your brain and your tongue get really confident with the pronunciation of this word. Estadounidense. Now, John Lennon. Let's talk about people who are not with us anymore, sadly. Like, say for instance, John Lennon. We know he was English. John Lennon was English. But how do I say was in Spanish? Well, it's a very, very easy word to remember. Era. John Lennon era inglés. And that's how you say was. In this case, John Lennon was English. So I'm going to leave you with these different celebrities in Spanish. We have Frida Kahlo from Mexico. We have Freddie Mercury from Great Britain. We have Danny Jones from Wales. We have Andrés Escobar from Colombia. We have William Wallace from Scotia. We have George Best from Ireland. We have Michael Jackson from the United States. And finally, we have Pablo Picasso from Spain. So my kind of task for you is first, try to write a sentence saying where they are or where they were from. So for instance, Frida Kahlo was from Mexico. Can you write that down? So let's try and see where you can write a sentence in Spanish using the name of the person, the verb era, and then of course the nationality of the person. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes for that, but also I've got a challenge. Can you also include why they were famous and what they were famous for? So 2 minutes, try and give it a go and see how many celebrities you can write in past. You have 10 seconds left. Okay, let's see how you did. So, Frida Kahlo era una pintora mexicana. By the way, I have included why they were famous. Freddie Mercury era un cantante británico. Danny Jones era un jugador de rugby galés. Andrés Escobar era un futbolista colombiano. William Wallace era un caballero escocés. George Best era un futbolista irlandés. Michael Jackson era un cantante estadounidense. Pablo Picasso era un pintor español. So, as you can see, really easy, all of them to do, because you basically have to say era. Now, the nationality, we always need to keep an eye where we're talking about a woman or a man. And of course, we need to do that. We need to show that on our final result, which is basically, in this case, Frida Kahlo, mexicana, Danny Jones, galés, Andrés Escobar, colombiano. And also, if you look at these words, say for instance with Británico, which I'm going to kind of highlight here, there, or if you have a look at that one there, or this one here, all of these words have a symbol on top. Those letters, the E, the A, and that means that you need to do kind of a longer sound. Most of us are being told to kind of stress the sound of the letter, but in actual fact, what you're doing is you're trying to extend the sound a little bit more. For instance, instead of saying inglés, you say inglés. You leave the E to kind of last a bit longer. And what you're doing there is that you're actually stressing the sound in a very natural way. Británico, galés, escocés, irlandés. And that's only for you to practice. Once you are really familiar and very good at your pronunciation in Spanish, you won't need to do that because you know exactly what you're doing. Also, very important is that I actually use the word un, una, which means a. So a Mexican painter or a British singer. And they are really important as well. Now let's have a look and let's see our work here. This is a really good and very useful chart that you could actually have. And my suggestions for you is always come back to these videos, okay? Revise the videos, check again, pause the videos if you want, so you can actually have a look at them and learn from them. Now, here I have era, una. Now, era, remember, is was, and we are going to use it a lot later on with other words, not today, but in other lessons. But for the time being, we are going to use it for celebrities. Now, I have a list of different occupations. I have cantante, artista, político, escritor, futbolista, jugador, actor, actriz, deportista. Now, all of these professions, right, we use them with different people, of course, but also we use them depending on whether they're masculine or feminine. Now, I have given you some professions that actually do not need the difference because the word works for both. For example, cantante can be either masculine or feminine. Artista, masculine or feminine. You don't need to do any changes to that. We have político. You could say politica, but it's kind of okay for you to say politico as well. Now, with the word actor, we have the word actriz. And it's really important to make that difference. So you want to actually learn the word actriz, so you sound more Spanish, if you like. Then we have a column or a list of all the different nationalities. So we have Francés, Inglés, Escocés, and of course we do our change at the end if it is a feminine word. Galés, Japonés, Estadounidense, remember that one? To show off, to shine in your lessons, try to remember that one really well. Español, ruso, rusa, indio, India, or Hindu. We can use Indio, India as well. Chino, China, Argentino, Argentina, Peruano, Peruana, Italiano, Italiana. But what I want to emphasize here in this lesson is also that we can actually give further information, and that is very important when you are doing your speaking exams or your writing exams, or in general information. So we have these very, very helpful phrases. For instance, que me gusta mucho, que era muy popular, que era muy famoso, que admiro mucho, que era muy talentoso, talentosa. So I encourage you to write them down or take a picture with your phone or come back to the video and try and work out what those sentences mean, because they complete your sentences in Spanish and they make your sentences a lot better. You have a lot more of information and you're showing that you do know about the topic. So feel free to copy this chart, to take a picture of it and use it at school and try to make as many sentences as you can, because of course, the more sentences you make, the better your different texts are going to look like. So by now you should be able to remember a number of nationalities in Spanish. Let's revise some of those. Colombiano, colombiana, peruano, inglés, galés, escocés, irlandés, estadounidense, japonés, mexicano, chino, China. I'm sure that by now, when you listen to me saying these sentences or these words, you are able to understand what I am saying to you. You should be able to give your own nationality in Spanish. So for instance, in my case, soy colombiano. Mi hermano es colombiano. Andrés Escobar, un jugador colombiano, nacido en Medellín. Can you guess what the last two sections or the last two words mean? Well, try and find it out. Come back to the video and check the video again. I'll say it again. Andrés Escobar era un jugador colombiano nacido en Medellín. You should be able to use or create sentences in Spanish using the past tense. And that's really good. Remember the chart that I gave you earlier? Use it for your own convenience. Because at the end of the day, the more practice you do, the better for you. Also, remember that with this, I'm going to go back to that chart. With this you can actually build as many sentences as you want, and you can actually link those sentences with other ones. So you can actually say, Frida Kahlo era una pintora mexicana que me gusta mucho, y Pablo Picasso era un pintor español que también me gusta mucho. And that's a long sentence. Can you translate that? Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. Do come back for more Satchel classes, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.